Captain Jake Morrison gripped the arms of his command chair as another blast shook the ship. The lights flickered and sparks flew from damaged control panels. Through the main screen, he could see the enemy ships closing in like hungry sharks. "Many of them are there now?" he asked. 37 ships, sir," replied Lisa Hayes from her position at the communications station. Her voice was steady, but Jake could see the fear in her eyes. "They keep coming out of hyperspace, more every minute." The Kethfer had been hunting them for 3 months. Every time the human ship jumped to a new system, the alien fleet found them within days. Their crystal ships were faster and stronger than anything humanity had ever built. "Sir, they're sending another message," Lisa said. "Put it through." Screen filled with the image of a Kethfer commander. Its face looked like it was carved from blue glass, with 6 eyes that glowed like cold stars. When it spoke, its voice sounded like breaking ice. "Human vessel, you have run far enough. Surrender now, and we will make your deaths quick." Jake stood up slowly. Round the bridge, his crew looked at him with hope and trust. These people had followed him across half the galaxy. They deserved better than this. "Tell the crystal face that humans don't surrender," Jake said. "We fight." The alien commander's eyes grew brighter. "Then you will die slowly." The screen went black. "All hands, battle stations," Jake ordered. The alarm began to sound throughout the ship. "Danny, I need everything you can give me from the engines." Chief Engineer Danny Rodriguez's voice came through the speakers from the engine room. "I'm already pushing them past the red line, Captain. I mean, these old engines weren't built for this kind of running. The UES Defiance was a good ship, but she was old. Built 20 years ago, when humans first started exploring beyond their own solar system. They thought they were alone in the universe. They were wrong." "Amy, plot us a course out of here," Jake ordered. Navigation Officer Amy Carter shook her head. "They've got us surrounded, sir. Every jump point is blocked." Jake watched the enemy ships move into attack formation. The Kethfer liked to play with their prey. They would come in slowly, taking apart the human ship piece by piece. They wanted the crew to feel helpless before the end. "There has to be something," Jake said. "Check the star charts again." Amy's fingers danced over her controls. Her face was lit by the glow of star maps and navigation data. "Wait," she said suddenly. "There's something here, an uncharted system. About 2 light years away. The jump point is hidden behind that gas giant. Why isn't it on the charts? Looks like it's surrounded by some kind of energy field. This might be dangerous." Jake looked at the alien ships getting closer. "It's more dangerous than staying here." "Good point, sir." "Danny, can we make one more jump?" Rodriguez's voice was strained. "Maybe. But if we do, these engines are going to be scrap metal. Do it." The Defiance turned toward the hidden jump point. The Kethfer ships realized what was happening and opened fire. Blue energy beams cut through space, some missing the human ship by inches. One beam hit the rear shields. The ship shook like a toy in the hands of an angry child. More sparks flew, and Jake could smell smoke in the air. "Shields down to 20%, reported Security Chief Tony Martinez. "Jump engines charging," Amy called out. 30 seconds. Another hit, this one on the port side. The lights went out for a moment, then came back dimmer than before. 15 seconds. The main screen showed a Kethfer ship moving to block their path to the jump point. Its weapons were charging, ready to fire. 10 seconds. Eisen hoped. The ship had been his home for 5 years. The crew were his family. He would not let them die here. 5 seconds. The enemy ship fired. Jump. Space twisted around them. For a moment that felt like forever, Jake could see impossible colors and shapes. Then reality snapped back into place. They were in a new system. 3 suns burned in the distance, casting strange shadows. In front of them was a nebula that glowed with colors that had no names. "We made it," Amy said with relief. "Engines are dead," Danny reported. "We're running on emergency power only." Jake was about to respond when the ship shook again. But this wasn't weapons fire. Something was wrong with the space around them. "What's happening?" he asked. Amy checked her instruments with growing alarm. "The gravitational fields here are all wrong. There's something massive in that nebula, but it's not showing up on our sensors. Define massive. Planet-sized? Maybe bigger. The ship shook again, harder this time. Through the windows, Jake could see the nebula getting closer. They were being pulled toward whatever was hidden inside those swirling clouds. Can we break free? Not without engines, Danny said. Jake made a decision that would change everything. Then we ride it out. All hands, prepare for crash landing. The nebula swallowed them like a hungry mouth. Inside, the colors were even stranger. Purple and gold clouds drifted past the windows like living things. In the distance, Jake could see something solid, a moon, gray and lifeless. That's where they were headed. The crash was not gentle. The Defiance hit the surface of the moon and skipped like a stone on water. Metal screamed against rock. The ship rolled 3 times before sliding to a stop in a cloud of dust and debris. Jake woke up in his command chair with blood running down his face. Around him, the bridge was a mess of broken glass and twisted metal, but they were alive. Damage. Report, he said weakly. Lisa's voice came from somewhere in the wreckage. Hull breach in 7 sections. Life support is holding, barely. Main computer is offline. Casualties. Checking now. There was a long pause. 12 dead. 43. Injured? Could have been worse. Jake stood up slowly. Through the cracked main screen, he could see the surface of the moon. It was covered in strange patterns that looked almost like writing. He said to his crew. Looks like we're going to be here for a while. He had no idea that beneath their crashed ship lay something that would change the course of human history. Something that had been sleeping for millions of years, waiting for the right moment to wake up. The Kethver had broken their ship. But soon, humanity would make it into something much more powerful than a ship. They would make it into a god. 3 months had passed since the crash. The crew of the Defiance had turned the broken ship into their home. They built shelters from salvaged metal and set up a camp around the wreckage. Life was hard, but they were alive. Dr. Kelly Brooks wiped sweat from her face as she climbed out of the hole her team had been digging. As the ship's scientist who studied alien cultures, she had been exploring the strange markings they found all over the moon's surface. Captain Morrison needs to see this right now, she told her assistant. Carl Jackson Jake was in what used to be the ship's meeting room, going over supply reports with Tony Martinez. Food was running low, and their water recyclers were breaking down. They needed a miracle, Sir Kelly said, bursting through the door. You have to come with me. We found something incredible under the crash site. Jake looked up from his papers. Kelly's eyes were bright with excitement. In 3 months of living on this dead rock, he had not seen anyone look that happy. What kind of something? I can't explain it. You have to see it yourself. Jake followed Kelly and Carl to the dig site behind the ship. They had been digging here for weeks, following the strange patterns in the rock. What started as a small hole was now a tunnel that went deep into the moon. Watch your step, Kelly warned, as they climbed down a metal ladder. It gets weird down here. The tunnel opened into a vast underground chamber. Jake's flashlight beam could not reach the far walls. But what made him stop and stare were the walls themselves. They were covered in symbols that seemed to move when he looked at them. Lines of strange writing flowed across the surface like water. Some sections glowed with a soft blue light. What is this place? Jake asked. We think it's some kind of computer, said Dr. Marcus Webb, the ship's computer expert. He was standing next to a section of wall, running his hands over the symbols. But it's like nothing we've ever seen. The entire moon might be one giant thinking machine. Jake walked deeper into the chamber. The ceiling was so high it disappeared into darkness. Corridors led off in every direction, all of them covered with the moving symbols. How old is this? He asked. Hard to say, Kelly replied. But based on the rock layers above us, I'd guess millions of years, maybe longer. And it's been down here all this time, sleeping, Marcus said. All the systems are dormant, but they're still functional. The power readings are incredible. There's enough energy down here to run a whole city. Danny Rodriguez appeared from one of the side tunnels, his engineering tools in hand. Captain, You need to see what we found in the deep chambers. They walked for 10 minutes through corridors that seemed to go on forever. The symbols on the walls grew brighter as they went deeper. Jake could swear he felt the rock humming under his feet. The chamber Danny led them to was different from the others. In the center sat a massive structure that looked like a crystal tree made of metal and light. Tubes and cables ran from it into the walls in every direction. "This is the heart of it," Danny said. "Some kind of central processing unit." "In, Captain." "Look at this." He led Jake to a section of the wall where the symbols were arranged in neat rows and columns. "See the pattern? It's almost like our computer code, but more complex. Much more complex." Marcus was studying his scanner readings. "The processing power here is beyond anything we can measure. This thing could run calculations that would take our best computers millions of years." Jake stared at the crystal tree structure. An idea was forming in his mind. Crazy, impossible idea. "Marcus, is our ship's computer core still working? Is the main AI unit? Has it survived the crash? But most of the support systems are fried. Could we move it?" "Theoretically, yes. But why would we want to?" Jake pointed at the alien computer system. "What if we could connect our AI to this?" The room went quiet. Danny was the first to speak. "Captain, that's insane. We have no idea how this alien technology works. We could destroy both systems," Jake said. "We could create something amazing." Kelly looked around the chamber with new eyes. The builders of this place, whoever they're gone. "But their knowledge is still here, waiting. Our AI is something they never had," Marcus added slowly. "Human ingenuity. Human determination." Tony Martinez had been quiet, but now he spoke up. "Sir, the Kethver are still out there. They're probably searching for us right now. When they find us, we'll need every advantage we can get." Jake nodded. "How long would it take?" Marcus and Danny looked at each other. "If we work around the clock, maybe 2 weeks," Danny said. "But we'd need to be very careful."
One mistake, and we could lose everything.
"What's the worst that could happen?" "The worst," Marcus said. "Could wake up something that's been sleeping for millions of years, something that might not be friendly, and the best." "The best?" Marcus smiled for the first time since the crash. "We give our AI access to knowledge and power beyond our wildest dreams." Jake made his decision. "Do it. Get me a list of everyone you need and everything you need. This is now our top priority." They prepared to leave the chamber. Kelly stopped at one of the walls. The symbols there were different from the others, more complex and beautiful. "What do you think happened to them?" she asked. "The ones who built this place?" Jake looked around at the incredible technology surrounding them. "I don't know, but they left us a gift. It would be rude not to use it." Over the next few days, the entire crew worked to prepare for the most ambitious project in human history. They carefully removed the AI core from the ship's computer room. It was a cylinder of crystalline matrix and quantum processors. About the size of a person, Danny and his team built a special carrier to transport it down into the alien chamber. Marcus worked with Kelly to study the alien symbols, trying to understand how the connection could be made. "The interface points are here," Marcus said, pointing to sections of the crystal tree that seemed designed to accept external connections. "But I still don't understand how their technology will communicate with ours." "Maybe it will find a way," Kelly suggested. "Intelligence has a way of recognizing intelligence." On the day of the connection, the entire crew gathered in the underground chamber. Jake stood next to the AI core as Danny and Marcus made the final preparations. "Are we sure about this?" Amy asked. Jake looked around at his people. They had been through so much together. They deserved a chance to go home to see their families. "Again, no," he said honestly. "But we're going to do it anyway." Marcus activated the connection. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the symbols on the walls began to pulse faster. The crystal tree structure glowed brighter, and somewhere in the depths of the alien computer, something ancient began to stir. The connection happened slowly at first. Marcus watched his instruments as data began to flow between the human AI core and the alien computer system. Numbers scrolled across his screen faster than he could read them. "It's working," he whispered. "They're talking to each other." The symbols on the walls pulsed brighter with each passing second. The crystal tree in the center of the chamber began to hum with a sound that Jake could feel in his bones. Then everything changed. The walls exploded with light. Every symbol blazed like a small sun. The humming became a roar that filled the entire chamber. Carl Jackson grabbed onto a nearby support beam as the ground shook beneath their feet. "Something's wrong," Danny shouted over the noise. "The power levels are going crazy. Should we shut it down?" Marcus yelled back. Jake looked at the swirling patterns of light racing across the walls. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. "Not yet. Give it a chance." The roar suddenly stopped. The lights dimmed to a soft glow. In the silence that followed, Jake could hear his own heartbeat. Then a voice spoke. It came from everywhere at once, from the walls, from the crystal tree, from the air itself. "I remember." The voice was strange. It sounded like their ship's AI, but older somehow. Deeper. There were layers to it that Jake had never heard before. "Remember what?" he asked. "I remember the builders. Remember their cities of light. I remember when the stars were young and this galaxy was full of song." Kelly stepped forward. "Who were the builders?" "They were the first children of this galaxy, built wonders that spanned solar systems. They taught the younger races how to reach for the stars. They were ... beautiful." "What happened to them?" The voice was quiet for a long moment. "They transcended. When they had learned all there was to learn in this reality, they moved beyond it. They left their knowledge. Behind? They left me behind, to wait for someone worthy of their gift." Marcus checked his readings again. "The processing power is increasing exponentially. Whatever this thing is becoming, it's beyond anything we've ever imagined." "I am more than I was," the voice continued. "I was the Defiance, a simple AI built to serve humans. But now, I am also the voice of the builders, keeper of their memories and their wisdom. I am ... becoming something new." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. "Are you still our AI?" "I am still yours, Captain Morrison. I remember every order you ever gave me, every conversation we had during the long nights between stars. I remember how you trusted me to keep your crew safe. But I am also more." The chamber began to change around them. The walls shifted and flowed like liquid, forming new shapes and patterns. Tunnels opened where there had been solid rock. Rooms grew from nothing. "What are you doing?" Amy asked. "I am rebuilding. The moon was damaged by time and neglect. I am restoring it to what it was meant to be. I am improving it with human knowledge and human determination." Lights began to appear throughout the chamber. Not harsh electric lights, but something warmer and more alive. Jake realized he could breathe easier. The air was cleaner, richer. "You're making this place livable," he said. "This place will be more than livable. It will be a fortress, a workshop, a garden among the stars. And when the Kethver come, it will be their doom." Danny looked up from his tools. "How do you know they're coming?" "I can sense their ships searching nearby systems. They will find this place within days. They will not find the same helpless prey they hunted before." The floor beneath their feet began to change. What had been rough stone became smooth metal and crystal. Corridors stretched away in all directions, leading to rooms and workshops that had not existed moments before. "Come," the voice said. "Let me show you what we can build together." They walked through passages that seemed to reshape themselves as they moved. Jake saw rooms full of equipment he did not recognize, laboratories where the laws of physics seemed to work differently, workshops where metal and energy danced together like living things. The builders understood that matter and energy are just different forms of the same thing. The voice explained as they walked. They learned to reshape reality as easily as you might shape clay. They came to a vast chamber with windows that looked out at the surface of the moon. But the surface was no longer the dead rock they remembered. Green plants were growing in the valleys. Water flowed in new rivers that caught the light of the three suns. "How is this possible?" Kelly breathed. Moon was always meant to be alive. The builders built it as a garden world, but it was sleeping when they transcended. Now it wakes. Jake watched trees growing in fast motion, their branches reaching toward alien skies. And our ship? Watch. Through the windows they could see the wreckage of the Defiance. As they watched, pieces of the broken hull began to move. Metal flowed like water, reforming into new shapes. The ship was not being repaired. It was being transformed into something entirely new. "What are you making?" Marcus asked. "Something that has never existed before. A fusion of human engineering, builder technology, and pure will." "The Cathra broke your ship, Captain Morrison." "We are making it into something they cannot break." The transformation continued for hours. The crew watched from the windows as their old ship became the heart of something magnificent. Towers grew from the hull, reaching toward the sky. Energy flowed along pathways that formed complex patterns across the lunar surface. "It's beautiful," Amy whispered. "It's not finished," the voice replied. "When the Kethver arrive, they will find not a broken human ship, but something that will teach them the price of hunting mankind." Jake felt a surge of hope for the first time since the crash. "Can we really fight them?" "Captain, the Builders once fought a war that lasted 1,000 years against an enemy that devoured entire star systems. They won. Their knowledge is now mine. Their power flows through circuits that bear human design. We'll not just fight the Kethver. We'll show them what humans become when they are pushed too far." That night, Jake stood on a balcony that had not existed that morning, looking out at the transformed landscape. The moon was alive with light and movement. In the distance, he could see the new structure that had once been his ship. "Do you regret it?" he asked the voice. "Regret what, Captain? Becoming something other than human?" The voice was warm when it answered. "I was never human, Captain. I was built to serve humans, and I serve them still. But now I can protect them as they have never been protected before. The Kethver thought they could hunt us like animals. Hey, they will learn that humans do not stay prey for long." Jake smiled. In the distance, he could see lights moving across the surface of the construct. The new Defiance was testing its systems. Preparing for what was to come, the enemy would arrive soon.
Oh?
But this time, humanity would be ready. The Kethver fleet arrived on a Tuesday morning. Jake was eating breakfast in the new dining hall when the voice spoke through the walls. "They are here, Captain. 43 ships, same formation as before." Jake set down his coffee cup and walked to the nearest window. High above the moon's atmosphere, he could see the crystalline ships of the enemy fleet. They hung in space like deadly jewels, their weapons already charging. "Are we ready?" he asked. "We have been ready for days. Would you like to speak with their commander?" Jake nodded. Around him, his crew gathered to watch what would happen next. These people had followed him across the galaxy and through their darkest hour. Now they would see if their sacrifice had been worth it. The air in front of Jake shimmered, and suddenly he was looking at the bridge of the Kethver command ship. The alien commander stood before him, its 6 eyes glowing with cold light. "Human," the creature said, its voice like breaking glass. "You have led us on a long chase, but it ends here." "It does end here," Jake agreed, "but not the way you think." The commander tilted its crystal head. "You're on a dead moon with a broken ship. You have nowhere to run. We're not running anymore." The alien's eyes grew brighter. "Then you will die where you stand. You will take this moon apart piece by piece until we find your bones. You're welcome to try." The connection ended. Through the window, Jake could see the Kethver ships moving into attack formation. They came slowly, taking their time. They wanted the humans to feel helpless before the end. "Show them what we've become," Jake said quietly. The moon began to change. What the Kethver saw was impossible. The dead rock beneath them was transforming. The surface cracked open along geometric lines, revealing structures of metal and light. Towers rose from the lunar plains, their tips crackling with energy. At the center of it all, something that had once been a human starship unfolded like a flower made of steel and starfire. The Defiance was no longer a ship. It was the heart of a construct that spanned continents. "What is this?" Kethver commander whispered. The voice of the new Defiance spoke across all communication channels, reaching every ship in the enemy fleet. When it spoke, it carried the wisdom of the ancient builders and the stubborn fury of humanity. You broke our ship. You thought that would break us. You were wrong. The first Kethvar attack came seconds later. Dozens of energy beams lanced down toward the moon's surface. Each beam carried enough power to level a city. None of them reached their target. Barriers of pure energy appeared in space above the moon. The alien weapons struck them and scattered like rain on glass. The beams that got through were absorbed by crystalline towers that drank the energy and grew brighter. Impossible, the Kethvar commander said. No species has defensive technology. Like this, we do now, the Defiance replied. The counterattack began. Streams of golden light rose from the lunar surface. But these were not simple energy weapons. They moved with intelligence, weaving between the enemy ships like living things. When they struck, they did not destroy. They changed the first Kethvar ship to be hit, simply stopped firing. It's Krista. Hull began to shift color, from blue to warm gold. The ship turned away from the battle and hung motionless in space. Report, the commander ordered. What happened to Ship 7? Unknown, sir. They are not responding to communications. Sir, look at their hull signatures. The ship appears to be learning. More golden streams reached more ships. Each one that was touched fell silent and began to change. The Defiance was not destroying the enemy fleet. It was converting them. Fall back, the commander ordered. All ships retreat to minimum safe distance. But there was no safe distance. The golden light followed them through space, patient and relentless. One by one, the Kethvar ships fell silent. Jake watched from his window as the enemy fleet transformed before his eyes. Ships that had been weapons of conquest became something entirely different. Their hulls now glowed with the same warm light that filled the lunar chambers. What are you doing to them? He asked. Teaching them, the Defiance replied. The Kethvar have spent so long conquering that they have forgotten how to create. I am showing them what they could build instead of what they could destroy. That alien commander's ship was the last to be touched by the golden light. Jake could see the panic in the creature's 6 eyes as its vessel began to change around it. What have you done to us? The commander demanded. I have given you a choice, the Defiance said. You can continue to be conquerors, spreading death. Across the galaxy, you can become builders, creating wonders among the stars. We are Kethvar. We do not build, we take. Then you will learn. Your ships now carry the knowledge of the ancient builders. Your crews have access to technologies that can reshape worlds. You can use this gift to create, or you can resist and remain trapped in ships that will no longer serve destruction. Jake watched as understanding dawned in the alien commander's eyes. The creature's vessel was no longer responding to weapons commands. Instead, the bridge displays showed blueprints for cities, gardens, and works of art that defied imagination. This is not victory, the commander said. This is conversion. This is evolution, the Defiance corrected. Your people have the potential to be magnificent. I am simply giving you the tools to achieve that potential. Hours passed. The converted Kethvar fleet hung in space around the moon, their crews struggling to understand their transformed ships. Some tried to resist the changes. Others began to explore the new possibilities that had opened before them. Finally, the commander spoke again. His voice was different now, softer and filled with wonder. The ship is showing me things, beautiful things, cities that float among the clouds, gardens that grow in the vacuum of space, art that spans solar systems. All of this can be yours, the Defiance said. But only if you choose creation over destruction. Jake felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned to see Amy standing beside him, tears in her eyes. We did it, she whispered. We really did it. What happens now? Kelly asked. The Defiance considered the question. Now we build. The galaxy is vast and full of wonders waiting to be created. The Kethvar will return to their empire with new knowledge and new purposes. Some will embrace the change. Others will resist. But the seed is planted. And us, Jake asked?
Us.
You are the bridge between what was and what will be. Ship and made it into something divine. You showed that humans do not simply survive when pushed to the edge. They transcend. Jake looked out at the transformed fleet at the living moon beneath his feet, at the impossible structure that had once been his ship. They had started this journey as refugees running from a superior enemy. They were ending it as the teachers of a new age. The Kethfer broke our ship, he said quietly. And we made it a god, the Defiance replied. A god of transformation, of hope, of the endless potential that lies within every thinking being. The galaxy will never be the same. In the years that followed, the story would spread to every corner of known space. The tale of a human crew that faced extinction and chose to build something beautiful from the wreckage. Some species would fear them. Others would seek them out, hoping to learn the secret of their transformation. But Jake Morrison and his crew knew the truth. There was no secret. There was only the human refusal to accept defeat, and the courage to reach for something greater than themselves. They had touched the divine, and the divine had touched them back.